Shift selector lever to P range. Set the parking brake. Remove fuse box cover and remove fuel pump relay from fuse box. Remove fuel filler cap in order to release fuel vapor pressure in fuel tank, and then reinstall it. Start engine and run it until engine stops for lack of fuel. Repeat cranking engine 2 to 3 times for about 3 seconds each time in order to remove fuel pressure in lines. Remove the battery negative terminal. Fuel filter in engine room or near the fuel tank. Locate the fuel filter on the vehicle. Lift the vehicle on 2-post lift if needed. Remove components such as canister to gain access to fuel filter. Remove clamps and hoses connected to the fuel filter. Remove fuel filter mounting bolts and fuel filter. Take new filter and install it on the vehicle. Connect inlet and outlet hoses and install the clamps securely. Filter in the fuel tank.
Access to the coupler of fuel pump assembly by lifting the rear seat of vehicle. If needed, remove the rear seat. Disconnect the coupler from fuel pump assembly.
Lift the vehicle on two-post lift. Remove fuel filler hose. Drain fuel tank by pumping fuel out through fuel tank filler. Use hand-operated pump to drain fuel tank. Remove breather hose. Disconnect both the fuel hoses from fuel pipes. Before disconnecting joints of fuel hoses, unlock joints by inserting special tool between pipe and joint lock. Loosen the mounting bolts of fuel tank. Support fuel tank with a jack. Remove the mounting bolts of fuel tank. Remove fuel tank from vehicle. Take the help of an assistant if needed. Disconnect fuel breather hose from fuel tank. Disconnect joint of fuel feed line from fuel pump. Before disconnecting the joint, unlock the joint by inserting special tool between pipe and joint lock. Remove fuel pump lock nut from fuel tank using special tool. Remove the fuel pump assembly from the fuel tank carefully as shown. Remove O-ring from fuel tank. Clean thread portion of fuel tank. Install new fuel pump lock nut to the fuel tank and tighten it by hand temporarily. Without installation of lock nut, threaded portion of the tank may swell and can cause difficulty in reinstalling the lock nut. In spite of that, time taken in removal and reinstallation of fuel pump should be within 12 minutes. Disconnect the fuel level gauge coupler. Remove fuel level gauge wire from the clamps. Remove all the snap fits from the fuel pump assembly and remove the sub-tank as shown. Remove the snap fits of filter and fuel pump case. Remove the fuel filter. Disconnect fuel pump coupler. Remove fuel pump from its case. Remove O-ring from the fuel pump. Install new O-ring to the pump. Do not reuse the O-ring removed from the fuel filter. Install the pump in its case and install its coupler. Install new fuel filter to the pump assembly by aligning the filter hole on the pump inlet. Install the removed components like sub-tank, fuel level gauge wire to its clamps, and its coupler in reverse order of removal. Remove new fuel pump lock nut which is temporarily installed to the fuel tank. Install new O-ring to the fuel tank. Insert the fuel pump assembly into the fuel tank in the reverse order of removal. Install new fuel pump lock nut to fuel tank and tighten it till the marks on the lock nut and fuel tank are aligned. Install the fuel tank to the vehicle. Take the help of an assistant if needed. Install fuel lines, breather hose, and fuel filler hose in reverse order of removal. Connect negative terminal to battery. Install fuel pump relay to the fuse box and install fuse box cover. Start the vehicle to check the proper functioning of fuel pump. Check for any signs of leakage from fuel filter, fuel hoses and connections.